This week's portion, Terumah, begins a section which will conclude the book of Exodus, which describes in most part how the Mishkan, the portable sanctuary, is to be constructed, and how the vestments of the Kohanim, the priests, are to be designed. And so what we have for the next 5 portions, or 4.5 portions, really, aside from a brief section about the golden calf, is this description of the design and then the implementation and construction and making of the Mishkan and these vestments. It begs the question as to why so much attention is given over to this. But we have to understand this portion in context. What exactly has happened so far in the book of Exodus that leads to the construction of the Mishkan? We have the people gathered at Mount Sinai, and they hear God speak to the entire community and give them the 10 Commandments. Then we have, in last week's portion, a description and specific details of a civil law code, how specifically the people are supposed to conduct their daily lives as they interact with their fellow human beings. And then this week's portion, Terumah, begins the process of the design of the Mishkan itself. And so what we have is God giving the framework at Mount Sinai for how the people are supposed to conduct themselves ethically, morally, and religiously. Though it is fascinating that 4.5 portions are devoted to the construction of the Mishkan and only 1 for the ethical guidelines of their lives, it is still, I think, the lesson that all of it together is part of a system of how we can find God in our lives. Not our personal interactions with our fellow human beings is one way to ensure that we exhibit our belief in God through our relationship with our fellow human being. And then also we find a way to relate to God in the holy sanctuary as well. So some might think that sanctity and relationship with God is only in the sacred space of the sanctuary, but the Torah teaches that God is found everywhere, even in our personal relationships. Shabbat Shalom.